Good evening and welcome to Coach World TV. My name is Terry Yoffe, and this evening as my guest I have Kathy Miller. Hi, Kathy.
Hello, Terry.
Hi. Kathy is co-founder and CEO of Wellness Possibilities, which is a platform for companies and communities who are promoting healthy living. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
Great.
Perfect.
So Kathy, why don't you tell us a little bit about and expand on Wellness Possibilities for us?
Sure. So wellnesspossibilities.com is one place where you can go and find all different kinds of resources for changing your diet and lifestyle, making important behavior changes, for finding resources to relax, to relieve pain, to reduce stress, sleep better at night, all different kinds of services. We have a very wide variety. There are actually over 200 services listed at wellnesspossibilities.com. And we have one gift card that can be used for any of these services. So when you give someone this gift card as a gift, they get to, first of all, go on the directory and find out about all these resources. There are a lot of things that exist that you might not even know about. And then they get to choose exactly the resource that they're ready for at the time. And when they go onto the website, they might not even know exactly what they're looking for. They might think, oh, maybe I'll get a massage, or maybe I'll take a yoga class. But then they might find something that they realize can help them with a challenge maybe they've been struggling with for a long time. A relationship issue, maybe it's a health issue that's been knocking quietly, or maybe it's getting louder. Or maybe there's some big change that they've been wanting to make. For instance, quitting smoking. And if someone wants to quit smoking, they probably think about it every single day.
Sure.
But they might not know that there are all these different ways that they can get help with that.
So you also have the listing of coaches and all kinds of alternative medicine. Tell us a little bit about that as well. About all of. I've been to that website and it's amazing. They have many different types of listings for alternative medicine type individuals.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We have it broken up into different categories. So one of the categories is body wellness, and that could include all different types of physical fitness. Yoga, we have anti-gravity yoga, which allows you to...
What does that do to help you stay down?
It's actually...
So you don't float up?
It's a sling that you can use to support yourself during the poses. And so any of those upside down poses, you're totally supported. It's a hammock-like sling. It's very interesting. We have a new provider coming on that has trapeze classes. Nia, which is a dance mixed with yoga, all different kinds of physical fitness. Body wellness would also include acupuncture and massage therapy, rolfing, all different kinds of physical therapies. And then we also have a category for making diet and lifestyle changes. Those would be different kinds of coaches, nutrition counselors, wellness counseling and coaching. We have a category for improving your environment, and that would include professional organizers who can help you declutter.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Some services to save time, like errand running services. We have personal chefs that will come to your house and cook food for you according to your doctor's specifications. All different kinds.
It's like a one-stop shopping almost.
It is.
For what anybody would want.
Yeah, we found when people receive, say, a gift card, if I give you a gift card for my massage therapist, it might not be convenient for you. You might not click with them. You might not want to be touched. Some people don't like massage at all. But if I give you a Wellness Possibilities gift card, then you're going to look and you're going to choose exactly what you're ready for. And it might be something that you didn't even realize you were looking for. Just to give you an idea,
I'll tell the audience a little bit.
I gave a neighbor who had helped us with some projects two $50 gift cards, one for her and one for her husband, as a way of saying thank you. And I thought she would use these gift cards to work with a professional organizer because she had mentioned that a lot of times, that her husband's office was a mess and she really wanted to get him help with that. Well, she went on the website and found a retreat, and I didn't know it at the time, but her relationship was in trouble. And she and her
Okay.
husband went on a retreat. It was $500 per person. I only gave them two $50 gift cards, but they used that toward the retreat. And she said it saved their marriage.
Unbelievable.
She wasn't even realizing that she was looking for that. I think she thought she was going for professional organizing too, but when you take your time, and everything on the website is set up to make it very easy for you to look through. There's no flashing ads, nothing to distract you, just a way for you to sink in and look at what's available. And there are so many people who can help with so many different specific.
And especially today, we live in such a challenging environment with so much stress and lack of work-life balance, that it's so interesting that there's such a world of opportunities that could be open for someone that could be looking for all of the things that you described, as well as retreats. It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, when we started,
Yeah,
we
please
had
tell us.
a list of 58 services, which we thought was very comprehensive. And now we're over 200, and we're still finding out about new ones. For
Wow.
instance, we recently added green cleaning. If someone is very sensitive, they need a cleaning service that will not use harsh chemicals, that will cater to that specific challenge, and that's available.
So, when you think about this one-stop shopping, if you will, just my terminology,
That's fine. I like it.
about what's available, what do you think the impetus has been for someone like you and the person you're working with to have started this and to have thought that, you know, there's a lot here to offer, that people will come, you know. It's like with that field of dreams.
If you build it,
They will come. Exactly. It's like if you built it and they're coming.
Yes. I'll tell you exactly how it happened.
Yeah,
when,
please.
Dawn is the person who
Yes.
started the directory with
Exactly.
me. And when we first met, she was doing professional organizing, and I was doing something called prosperity coaching, where I help people organize their finances. She organized everything except finances. So we thought, this will be great. We'll get together, we'll refer clients to each other. And we met just to be networking. And in that first meeting, Dawn told me that she had a challenge. She was trying to get pregnant. Trained as a nurse, and for 5 years had tried all the things that they told her to do. Tests, procedures, all these things. And she had the best doctors, and none of that was working. And I knew that there were other resources available, so I started sharing those resources with her. Well, at that first meeting before we got into that, she told me that she was a professional organizer, and I said, that's great that you do that for people. I don't need it, of course, but that's really nice that you do that.
I don't need it, of course.
It's that knee-jerk reaction. And I told her what I was doing, and she did the same thing. She said, well, I don't need you, but you need to work with my husband. Well, as we got to know each other, I started sharing these resources, but we also started to use each other's services. And we realized, wow, that knee-jerk reaction is what we have to get people past. It's just this habitual way where we say, I'm fine.
Right.
How can I help you? I don't need anything. I'm fine. What do you need today? When really we all have challenges, and we don't have to go it alone. So
Yeah, talk about that a little bit more, because I think that probably hits a chord with all of us, where we say, oh, I don't need this, I'm just great, as we're falling apart, inside, outside, especially when people talk about their work-life issues, and clients come to me for that. And, you know, they wonder where their stress is. Well, I work 24/7, but I don't understand where the stress is coming from. So elaborate a little bit more on that,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, I especially noticed it. I was doing coaching at the time, and Dawn had her own business doing professional organizing. And when we have our own businesses, we put on our face. We go out in the community
Sure.
and we talk about how we can help others.
Right.
And there's this myth that we have to always be in good shape ourselves in order to be able to help other people. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can only give for so long without receiving. It really needs to be something where you're taking care of yourself, and then you're out there taking care of other people, and then you go back and take care of yourself some more. And it's not something we're really trained to do. It's actually socially acceptable to not take care of yourself, to be very busy, to be juggling, and we give people, especially women, awards for taking on so much, when really, what if it was the other way around? What if we acknowledged each other for taking care of ourselves? What if I said, Terry, wow, you really made sure that we got here early today so that you would be in good shape. Good job, Terry.
Oh, thank
Congratulations.
you. A little OCD on my part, I admit it.
Beautiful way of taking care of
Yeah.
yourself, though, knowing what you need
Exactly.
and making it so that I could come in and be comfortable too.
Well, I'm glad. You know, as a coach, I do get a lot of clients, or some clients, that don't have a clue about taking care of themselves. I'm a big proponent, oops, of taking care of ourselves, except when the mic is covered, because it's very important. You know, we're in the service business, and I think we have to think of ourselves first as far as taking care of ourselves so that we can go out and help others. But when people come and talk about, they almost feel guilty about taking care of themselves, like it's some sin, and it's looked at as selfish rather than self-interest.
Yes.
And that's the way that I present it. What's your take on all of this self-interest, selfish?
It's something that I continue to practice. Even though I go out and talk about this with other people, it's something that on an everyday basis I have to consciously pay attention.
Yes.
And I do notice that when I'm in good shape, and that's not just did I get a good breakfast, a good lunch, and a good dinner, but just those can take really conscious effort these days with how busy we all are. But did I take time to talk with a friend? Did I handle that issue that was coming up with my son?
Right.
You know, there are all these things that if we're carrying them around, then we're not able to be fully present with the people that we're with. They're not getting the best of us. No one really is. So taking that time, it might seem like it's selfish at first, but it really means that you end up having more of yourself to give. And then people who are around you benefit even if you don't do anything specifically for them, just because you can feel when someone's calm, you can feel when someone's agitated.
Exactly, that is very, very true. You know, you walk into a room and you can tell those people that come in and show up and are present and have a calmness. Suppose those that show up and are, you know, all over the place, and you know, you want to stay so clear of them. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the way it is. And it feels like, in a lot of ways, Wellness Possibilities has really addressed a lot of the issues as to what they will find on the website. And, you know, that there is a roster of people that can help. You know, if you need help, go to the website. Why don't you give them the website, Kathy?
Sure, it's wellnesspossibilities.com. And when you go, there are different ways to search. You can enter your zip code just to find out what are all the resources available in my neighborhood.
Very cool.
We added a feature where you can search by your wellness goal, because a lot of the modalities, for instance, people might not know if you're looking to quit smoking, that hypnosis can help with that, or acupuncture can help with that. They put needles in specific parts of your ears, and that helps reduce cravings. There are wellness coaches. Maybe you need to de-stress first before you try to quit smoking. So there, if you search by your wellness goal, you can see all the services in your area, and even nationally, because you can work with providers by phone who can help you with that specific wellness goal. We also have the long list of services. If you know what service you're looking for, you can just search by that service and it will bring up everyone who offers that service. We have some very interesting providers offering services that you may have never heard of. So searching by service allows you to, people spend hours on the site.
I'm sure they do. And, you know, they may get, you know, go for one thing and find, ooh, 2 or 3 other things that might really appeal to them.
Yes. Yeah, we set the directory up to provide the experience like when you go into a bookstore. When you walk into the bookstore, you might know exactly what you're looking for, or you might just know what department you're going to. But either way, you're walking along and sometimes something just jumps off the shelf at you. And you didn't realize that this is what you were looking for, but now that it's in front of you, you realize, wow, I could check this out. Whereas if someone was standing at the door of the bookstore shoving a book in your face, you probably wouldn't want anything to do with it. People need to be able to come in and look around, take time for themselves, and see what jumps out at them. It might be what a provider looks like, their photo or their logo. It might be the words that they've written, or it might be that they have a very specific challenge. Maybe they've been diagnosed with something, or they have an issue that they're now ready to deal with, and that provider says that they can help, so they reach out.
I love the metaphor for the bookstore idea. You know, all I could think about was this is kind of a metaphor for Barnes and Noble. That you know, it's like books on a shelf that you can go and you can look at what's available and then move to another part of the site.
Yeah, and
So-
people are so trained. I think
yes.
if you are in an industry as a coach, you know the different training programs and all that coaches go through to become certified and
yes.
provide professional services. For someone who's new and maybe they've never heard of coaching, it helps for them to have a place where they can come and look around.
Sure.
We've checked out all the providers. We verify that they are who they say they are. They've been trained
Okay.
how they say they've been trained. So when people come, it's a trusted directory. It's not a phone book listing. You won't find every provider under the sun in there. Only the providers that are participating in this program. And our whole concept, and the providers get this too, is that there's not one size fits all. Everyone needs to find their own path to wellness. If 5 different people go to the same doctor and that doctor tells them all you need to lose weight, for instance, well, those 5 people are all going to have a different path. Some need to change their diet, some need to change their schedule,
Exactly.
some need to handle some issues maybe that are underneath.
Right. Obviously.
Yeah, so we're just encouraging people to reach out for help, that help is available and you don't have to do it alone.
That's great. What a wonderful philosophy, and thank you for putting this to you and Dawn for creating this wonderful venue for people to come and find something that would interest them and they might need. So as Kathy and I were talking at dinner, she mentioned to me that she started out as a birthing coach.
Yes.
Do I have that correct?
Yes.
How do you get from birthing coach to, well, although they're not that far apart, wellness?
Well, it's interesting. I was trained as a birth coach because I was in a community of people who realized that adults have a lot of issues, and possibly some of them were stemming from as far back as birth. Because birth is traumatic, and
Sure.
there are, maybe if we could make birth a little less traumatic, then maybe it would be an easier transition coming into the world. That's our first big transition that we go
Sure.
through. And it sets up how we deal with transition later in life. That was the theory. And so there was a lot of effort to try to create a safe, comfortable environment for the birthing mother and the couple.
Sure.
So I worked with couples sometimes before conception and definitely throughout the pregnancy, and then got to be at the births.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, it's for the coaching skills to be applied in this environment was excellent training, because it is a life or death situation. And people don't like to think about that when you're having a baby.
Sure,
You
but
just
it's
want
very
to think,
true. It's
yeah,
true.
that baby has to come out within a certain amount of time, and there are things that you can do to prepare so that it's much more likely to be an easy experience. And then it's like a wedding. Whatever happens on that day, you might plan for sun, it might rain, but the more planning you do and the more preparation you do, and the more you have the support team that you need around you, the more likely it is that you'll have the experience that you want. So that's how I got started.
Now, when you went to the birth, was that in the hospital, or was that with a midwife, or all of the above?
All of the above. The couples that I worked with all had the goal of natural childbirth. And there are certain guidelines that you have to meet in order to be
Yes.
able to birth at home. And I have certainly been at many home births, and sometimes they didn't meet those guidelines, but they wanted to have a natural birth anyway. And there are definitely things you can do to prepare for that.
And what was your role while the birth was going on? Were you coaching the couple? Maybe the husband was down on the floor,
Well,
but
it's-
I mean, or helping the woman through it.
So as a coach, you get to know your clients,
Ah,
and then when it comes right down to it, sometimes there's a gentle hand holding, and sometimes there's a getting in their face and saying, it's time to push. It's time to do what you know you can do, and support them in finding those inner resources that they need to pull out to make it happen. Very much like what you do.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say, didn't only have to be birth coaching to do that. We do that with clients all the time.
Yes, any transition, we need support. We're not
Right.
here to do it ourselves. We're
Yeah,
not built
very
that way.
much so. Very much so. So from birthing coach, how did the timeline move for you?
So when I hung my shingle out as a birth coach, I was very naive. I thought I would just hang my shingle out there and people would line up and I would have plenty of clients. And it didn't happen that way. So I went to work in other people's businesses and gradually really learned business inside and out, and especially working with small business owners and all the different roles that had to be played.
Sure.
Became a business manager and then a business consultant. And when I had the opportunity, I always did birth coaching on the side, but it just wasn't something I knew how to make a living at.
Right, I understand.
And then I had the opportunity to take some time off, work with a coach, and go through a transition process myself. And when I came out the other side, I had a new shingle, and it was called prosperity coaching.
Okay.
At this time, I didn't know there were people who were calling themselves coaches, and birth coaching is now called being a doula.
Or doula, exactly.
When I was trained, that word
Really
didn't even
exist.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I hung my shingle out as a prosperity coach, and this time people did line up. And it's because I had learned so much about business and those skills that you need in order to birth a business.
There you go. There's just another way to bring in that whole birth coaching. You're right. When we start businesses, it is the birth of something new.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you can use the same skills for that. And
Yeah, there's that period where you've already come up with the idea, but no one can see it yet. Or maybe you've been working at it a while and everyone's standing around going, well, I don't see anything yet.
Yeah,
But it's a process.
that's true.
And it really helps if you have a support team in place, just like at a birth of a baby, to have the team in place who can help you, be by your side, cheer you on, kick your butt if that's what you need.
That's true. And something else when we had dinner you were talking about, and that was right brain, left brain. You know, I think being a coach or that type of service, we're more right brain people. We want to get out there, we want to help others. That's our mission, is to help others to make a difference. And sometimes coaches can forget about the business aspect and the marketing and the business aspect of what they're doing. And that can become a very slippery slope. So that's the right brain, left brain.
Yeah, with wellness providers in general. Well, entrepreneurs, I think, are, I read a statistic that 70% right brain, because you have to be creative, you have to be able to see the big picture. And left brain is very analytical, and perhaps if you were focused too much on that side of the brain, you would never even go out and start on your own, because you can't know every step ahead of time. You have to just jump in when you're an entrepreneur. But ideally, you want to integrate both sides of the brain. You want to have that vision, and then you want to work those individual steps to move toward it. And when we created Wellness Possibilities, we were really keeping in mind, what is it like for these independent practitioners? Most of the wellness providers have very small businesses, maybe 1 or 2 people in the business, and so they're providing services, and they're keeping up their skills, and they're taking care of the back end and doing the marketing. It's a lot to do.
Yes, it is. It's a lot, and you have to know how to do it and have to be organized enough, I would imagine. I mean, I know for myself, it becomes a one-man show, you know, as a coach, and I have to be the marketing person, although I do have some people to help me. But it's being out there and out in the world and understanding what it takes to really market and brand yourself, because that's what you're selling.
Yes. And you have to take care of yourself so that you're in good shape, because people pick up on that.
I think so, and especially if you are looking for people that want to be coached, they get a sense of who you are. That's what invites them kind of into your space and sphere and say, gee, I want to work with this person. I think if they see a wreck, a train wreck showing up,
Right. Even if you're putting on the face and saying you're fine, people pick up on it and they're attracted to authenticity. And so many of the services in the network can support that. So we encourage our providers to get to know each other, reach
Very
out for
nice.
resources to each other, and then just providing that marketing support. This platform is a system that is like, it's like hiring a marketing department, outsourcing some of your marketing. You're still going to have to do your own marketing, but we are working on making inroads into companies and broadening the audience of people that are looking for these services. And so even if a wellness provider is not part of our directory, they're still going to benefit because we're helping to integrate it into everyday society more. But specifically, if they're listed in our directory, people are coming to wellnesspossibilities.com looking for help. They're looking for resources. And the providers that are listed there might have an easier time helping clients find them if they're already set up.
well, sounds great. Absolutely. So what else about your career or that you want to tell us?
Well, I was raised outside the lines of conventional medicine. When I was 3 years old, I started going to the chiropractor every week. I remember going to the doctor once when I stepped on a nail. If I cut myself, my mom would go outside and clip some aloe plant right off the plant that she had growing
Oh,
outside.
wow.
Once I fell down the stairs when I was about 10, and within 15 minutes I had an acupuncturist needles in my back. It just so happened that an acupuncturist was visiting and had their needles with them. So I was raised around these services and resources,
Oh,
very aware
yeah.
that they're very practical, and when you need them, you can reach out for them. And when I met Dawn, I started to realize not everyone knows about these resources. For some people, they're just on the periphery.
So we have about a minute left, and I don't want to cut you off, but what are some last words that you'd like? If you'd like to repeat your website, that would be great.
The website is www.wellnesspossibilities.com, and you can look through the directory for yourself to find resources for whatever challenges you're facing. And if you'd like, you can give a Wellness Possibilities gift card. It makes a great gift for
Very nice.
all kinds of
Yes,
occasions.
yes, it does. Any last words that you'd like to leave with our audience before we say good night?
I do want to say thank you, Terry, not only for interviewing me here today, but for the work that you're doing out in the world with people and how you make a difference.
Well, thank you. That's very well. What a nice way to end. Thank you very much, and thank you for being our guest. It's been a real pleasure. Kathy Miller, who is the founder and co-founder and CEO of Wellness Possibilities.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.